Hello, welcome to Greenwood Bonsai Studio. We're going to do another follow-up video for you today on this weeping cedar tree. It's a deodar cedar and it's one that we bought off eBay about a year and a half ago. If you look at the screen now, you'll see an image of it, and that was after I worked on it a year and a half ago. So you can see now with it in front of me, it's been sold and one of our customers owns it, and it's filled out, it's been doing quite well, and it's just come in for a little bit of a prune and a little bit of a tidy up. So we just wanted to show you it in the studio and how it's progressed in that time, and just see what we can do to just take it to another stage of its development. So very briefly, when we look at this tree, we just need to give it a little bit of trim back and a tidy up. Round here at the back, this branch has lifted a little bit. This one beneath it hasn't really put on much growth. Look, it's stayed quite sparse. So I'm going to get rid of that smaller one underneath. I'm going to utilise this one above it. I'm going to trim off some growth that's growing quite near to the trunk. It's just dropping a few of the old needles at this time of year. Obviously it's an evergreen, but a little bit of needle drop on some of these old needles is nothing really to worry about. And I'm just going to go in with a fine pair of scissors and just trim just some of this extension growth back, just to neaten it up a little bit. Just a little bit of conflict between where it's growing, between the branches here. Let me come around this side so you can perhaps see a bit clearer when we do this section, so you can have a look at it over my shoulder as we were. So this little bit is growing up a bit too much against that foliage pad, so that can come off. This little bit in here and here and here, just to tidy them up. These little sprouts just here can come off, that little bit growing down, just neatening this up. This little section in here, this little stub just there, this little bit just here and here. So we're actually thinning out individual buds. This bit here is growing down. See that tiny little bud there, look, growing down? I know it's only a small little thing, but it's trimming out things like that that are going to make the difference to this tree going forward. That little bit in here, and this one, this one, this one. Shorten these back, that bit's growing down too much. And then these tips we can shorten back like this. And some of this length on the top, a little bit off that one, this one. Round here at the back, this shoot, this on the perimeter here, look, there's another one above it that's better, and this one is growing from in there. So that can come back like that. And then this one, we can just nip the tip back. And this one, see this shoot from this foliage pad is growing over and cluttering up this one. So this one can come off. This one's a bit long. This piece here. Another little bit growing down there. That's too small, little dead bit. And trimming these foliage pads with this sort of detail for the actual structure of them makes them so much better. Shorten this one back to here, this bit back into here. That bit there's died off, little dead stub there. This can shorten back. Just rattle some of the old needles out of that. These are a bit long, laid on the top, that one, this one, this one. And then at the end of this branch, this section here. And as your eye gets into it, you'll be able to quickly see which bits need to come back. This bit is overlapping here, so you're better off shortening this back here, and this one to here and here, and that tip, this bit here. That's growing up a bit too much, that bit's down too much. These just want a little bit of a nip back like that. So just working my way around the tree. Again, look, this branch is coming down off that foliage pad, so let's shorten that back to where it needs to be. This one's going back towards the tree. That one there we don't need. This little bit here, just a bit over length on these tips. So this has been pruned by the owner since they've had it, but this very generously bought it back up because, you know, they knew it was a YouTube video tree, and we've had a few requests from people wanting to see its progression. So it has been pruned in the meantime, but probably at the beginning of the year. So this is just catching up with the summer pruning, just doing it at this time of year. They're quite vigorous trees, and this particular one, if you watched the video back when we first did it, if you didn't see that video, you know, it was a bit of a blind purchase. We just bought it off eBay, just thought we'd have a little play about with it, see what we could make of it. You know, because we'd had a few trees, a few videos where I was working on quite nice specimen bonsai, and a few people have said, well, it's all right for you, Corin, you know, you get these good trees to work on, and I wouldn't disagree with that, I do. But just, it was a bit of fun. We're like, well, let's just go on eBay, just see what we can find. We'll buy a garden tree off eBay, not a bonsai, and it would just turn up here as if it turned up as if you bought it yourself. And it turned up, and we thought, well, this is what we've got, let's see if we can work with it. And if you watch the video back, it was a bit interesting because we found it's got quite an ugly graft at the base, this tree, an inverse taper, which isn't a massive issue, but it's something that you do find on garden trees. So we made a little bit of a video about how to overcome it, different ways to overcome it. And the way we settled on with this tree is we incorporated this driftwood around the base of the tree. You see here where it's grafted, it's quite thick and it's a bit thin underneath. So we've incorporated this in the same way you would probably ordinarily, more usually, incorporate a piece of rock, and we've used that to hide the fault at the base of the tree, but not only to hide the fault, to make it a little bit more interesting, to give a bit of a feature to the base. And actually now, we did that a while ago, and it's all sort of weathered down. It looks more in keeping than it did when we first did it. So I'm just trying to take some of these back at the top. Just a little bit of pruning in here. Getting towards the end of this now. A little bit here. And then I think it's probably worth us just popping a little bit of wire onto a few of these branches, just to try and coax them into shape. A few have lifted a little bit. You know, if you've worked with cedars before, they're nice trees to work with. I love working with cedars, but they're very flexible, which is good, but the branches don't always remember where to be. So you can take the wire off, and sometimes they have a tendency to spring back a little bit. So let's see if we can't we might have to just readjust a few of these branches. So with a bit of pruning, look, we're getting a bit more into shape, aren't we? That's not so bad. That little piece there we missed. Let's see any other pieces we've missed. Little piece here, like that. So this branch here wants to be down and forward a little bit more into here. Now the way we did this initially, we wired it, but now we've got to this sort of stage, I might be able to do that just by hooking a little piece of wire on it. So let me come back round here. Let's see if we can't just, can we just get a piece of wire like this? Just bend it into bend a little hook in the end of it here, like that. And can we perhaps put it down? This is quite sturdy, this wood. So if we get it to about there, I wonder if we can hook it through this hole just here. So if I trim it back to there, for instance, and I put a little hook on it like that, put it down like that, maybe a little bit more, like this, a little bit shorter, and just turn it in like that. Yeah, and just leave that on like that to pull that down. And then I want to get a wire on these two branches, so we'll do this the more traditional method. Little spider on it there, get rid of him. These two we'll just wire like this. I say these have been done before, but they've just started to lift a little bit. So we'll just see if we can get another wire on them over winter to get them back into shape before spring. And then important, just try and move the foliage out of the way, work your way through it like so. Wire cutters just trim off any excess length of wire. And this one's going to come down and like this. Trim off that excess length of wire like that. And another little piece. Another little piece at the top, I think, on this branch here, coming forward and then coming up onto that branch there. So this one that's coming forward, just a little bit of 2.5 mil on that to bend that into shape. So it's not, doesn't need a full wire because we did that last time. It's just a few of these that will just benefit from a little bit of additional assistance. So maybe this one like that. Just trim that back into here, shorten that tip of that wire back. Just allows me to bring this branch down into here. I'm going to bring this one across into here a little bit more. And then that's going to leave a wire being needed on that little branch there at the back and this one at the front. So once you start wiring, you'll know often you start, you think, I'll just put a bit of wire on here, and you do one, then two, and before you know it, you've got 6 or 7 branches or bits of wire on the tree. Let's do that piece here. This one here, just allow me to bring this back branch down a little bit, like that. And then this one here, can you see, when you look at the front now, I've got a bit of a gap in here. And I've wired that one so that I can just bring this down like that, just to close that little gap up a little bit, just make this look a little bit nicer. And then this one here, that just wants to come down a little bit, not too much. So what we'll do with that, let's just take that little bit of growth we don't want here and here. We should be able to get thin a piece of wire, and if we start it here, back in towards the tree a little bit more and bring it along through that, take that little bit of little shoot off there, and then gonna just wire that down like this through here. I'm going to pull it down and just tuck it onto that lower branch like so. And just turn around and have a look, make sure we've got that right. Yeah, that's not too bad, happy with that. I say it's just a little bit more of a tidy up. You know, every time a tree like this comes to us, you know, just do a few little tweaks, just make it a little bit better than when it first came to us. And over the course of 3 or 4 sessions like this, it will start to take shape a little bit more. It's where we end with it. That one could come to here, but that's probably okay for now. I don't think that would make a lot of difference. Bringing these down has made a bit more difference. So we've just spent, I don't know, we've spent 10 minutes or so on that, and we've just managed to pull those branches down, a bit of a tidy up, shook a few of the old needles off it, and just made it look a little bit more organised. A little bit of time to do this at the moment at the nursery. We're just gearing up for our pre-Christmas rush. We've got hundreds of trees arriving very shortly, the next few weeks in the run up to Christmas, to go on the website and all that sort of thing. So we've just got a little bit of time to work on a few trees like this and get them sorted, because before we know it, we'll be through winter and we'll be on to spring next year. So just a little follow-up on this. If you haven't done so already, check out that first video, because then you'll be able to see how this tree's developed over the last couple of years or so, and I think it's coming on really quite well. Just got to get rid of these old needles around the surface, and I hope you've enjoyed watching it, and thank you very much.